Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Larry.
Welcome to Manopod,
A podcast dedicated to men over 50.
brought to you by manopause.com.
Hi, everybody. We're here today with Hilda Fogelson. She is an escapee from Nazi Germany. She's 95 years young, and we're going to get her story. So, Hilda, why don't you tell us how all this came about, how you had to leave your home in Germany and escape?
Well, things got kind of worse and worse for Jewish people in Germany. And I'm born in 26, and Hitler came to power in 1933. So I was pretty young, but I was like a little kid. And my father realized we couldn't live there anymore, but so the most important to him was to get the children out. And there were a lot of people like him, and they started this Kindertransport, and you had to be toilet trained, otherwise they wouldn't take you.
Okay.
And you could not be more than 17.
And how did that work? I mean, did you meet at a train station and then get taken? How did that happen?
Well, then they told my folks where to take us, I guess. And all we could carry was one suitcase. And, you know, I was sort of a spoiled kid. I never had to do much. So here I was supposed to carry this big suitcase. They weren't like now on wheels, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You had to carry them. And somehow I managed, and my older sister, Eva, she's 4 years older. She's not alive anymore, but we were always very close, and she helped me.
And when you arrived in the UK, were you taken to a relative's house, or did they have foster care?
Yeah,
what did they do?
my father's brother, Uncle Leo, we called him, he lived in London, and but his wife said, "I'm not taking in any kids." She didn't want to work so hard. I don't blame her, really. So my uncle said, "We'll put you in a boarding school." And, you know, I couldn't say no. So I was lucky to be there.
Mm-hmm. And did you stay there throughout the war?
No, we actually left in 1940 and came to the United States. That's another big story. We came in a convoy of 64 ships.
Wow.
And we were the only passengers. The others were all from England to here empty, and here they were filled with arms to fight in World War II.
Wow. And did your parents escape as well, and did they
Yeah.
get to England? How much after you got there, how much longer was it before they got there?
I don't really remember exactly, but we all came together to the United States, and it had already been in Europe, but we came in 1940, and Pearl Harbor was 1941.
Wow.
So we got here before, but we already had to cross the Atlantic in a convoy.
And you mentioned something to us before we started about the number of ships that you saw get sunk, and
Yeah.
you saw torpedoes in the water.
Yeah, we saw a lot of ships sink, and on my ship were 64 children, English children. The parents sent them to the United States, and they had been before and they were sunk, but somehow they were saved. And here they were on their second voyage. I don't know how, having been a parent, how you can do that, but they did.
Yeah.
They saved those kids.
Wow. And today, with what's going on in the world, with Ukraine and fighting for their lives, and Russia coming in and taking over and bombing Ukraine and killing people, innocent people, but this is no surprise to you, is it?
Well, it's pretty scary if you ask me. And you you don't want that to happen, you know, but you, like I say, you have to adjust to the times and get along the best you can.
So now you spend time talking to young people about your ordeal and about the Holocaust and that sort of thing. Is that
Well,
correct?
the Burbank school system, they have a wonderful program that not too many like it, and they ask people like me to come and talk to the school kids, and I always it's kind of upsetting for me, but I feel we should do it because there's so many people who are denying the Holocaust, and there are very few of my age alive, or if they are alive, they're not quite with it. So
Like you.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
not so much either. Ask my sons.
Now, you were a school teacher, correct? You taught at school?
Yeah, I was a teacher. I taught at Lanisha B. Weems. That was the principal's name. She had died, and they named the school for her. And it was on 37th and Vermont, a huge school. There were, I think, 7 first grade classes, and I had one of them.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I
And
just
you've
had-
always lived out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, I must say I enjoyed teaching, although I quetched around a lot.
How long did you teach?
25 years. I actually did 30. I did some substituting, but that didn't count for the pension. But I taught 25 years, the same first grade.
So how do you stay so young? You know, one of the things our menopause audience is always worried about is getting older and how to move on and how to stay passionate and how to stay youthful like you are. What do you do? What's your secret?
Well, I think it's really important to exercise, and that's I know Herbie too, and we walk every day at Lake Hollywood. It's a reservoir here, and you can walk around on the inside.
How long of a walk is that?
It's if you go all the way around, it's 3.5 miles.
Wow.
But I don't do that anymore.
How far do you go?
I go about a mile, I would say.
That's pretty good.
And it's really nice, and that's how I know Billy too. And it's just a beautiful place, Lake Hollywood. Shouldn't talk so much, then people will come there.
When you came to America, you obviously went through Ellis Island, correct? Is that where you went through the New York, Ellis Island?
We landed in Boston
Oh, in Boston. Okay.
because of the war already. We could not go across the Atlantic. We had to go way north and then come down the coast. And my uncle or cousins, somebody met us, and they were my whole family, and they were gonna split us up. They were the Jewish community. That some ladies, you know, I never seen anybody so dressed up and makeup and everything. They were going to put us in different homes, and my father said, "No, we've been separate enough. We're going to be together." And so they said, "Okay, Mr. Anchor, that's what you want to do." And he found a hotel. It was like a whorehouse.
Oh,
We don't know, you know,
Was that intentional on his part, you think, or no?
because it was cheap, I think.
Oh, okay.
My father, he didn't have much money. Everywhere we went, he would say, "I'm a poor refugee." I was so embarrassed, you know. But when we got to Colorado Springs, my father had a kidney stone. And finally you pass it, but it takes a while. So my dad said, well, we have to stay here in Colorado Springs, a huge hotel. There's a pool, you know.
Whoa.
And I said, how are we going to pay for this? You know? And my father said, I'm a poor refugee. And the guy, they were so nice, they let us stay.
Oh.
And then my father finally passed the kidney stone and back on the Greyhound bus.
To Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Wow. Why Los Angeles?
Oh, because my father had two brothers here, three brothers there were, and we looked, you know, awful, having traveled, and I didn't have a haircut or whatever, and people would say, so where are you going, dear? I would say Beverly Hills. I didn't know it was such a rich area, but my uncle Arthur, he lived in Beverly Hills, and I went to Beverly High School, and I was very misplaced because these were, you can imagine, rich girls,
Yeah.
and they had beautiful clothes. But then my dad right away went to Van Nuys, and he stayed with in a house next door. Later became our farm.
Oh yeah, you had a farm, huh?
Yeah,
What kind of
chicken
animals
farm.
did you have there?
Yeah, we had a lot of chickens, and we also had a cow.
In Van
And
Nuys.
Betsy.
And did
Van-
you have a duck? Didn't you have a duck?
Did I have
A
what?
duck.
A duck.
Oh yeah, we had a duck, Pedro,
Pedro the duck.
and we had geese. Geese are just like dogs, you know. Anybody came on the farm, they would hiss at them. But it was very weird. I was the only Jewish girl in the whole Van Nuys High School. And then there was a Jewish boy, Ronnie Greenberg, and he was obnoxious.
Yeah.
We can't let him see this.
Right.
Otherwise, he could get very mad. I'm kidding.
So, well, you've had a fascinating life, and you're doing good work teaching kids about the Holocaust. You know, you're young and healthy and active. What do you want to do for the next 10 years?
Me? Well, I hope I'll be with Herbie.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to marry him.
Well, we
Have you
don't
gone
think so.
back to Germany since you left?
I've gone back several times, and I know I've given talks in Berlin, but you know, for me it's hard to just manage in Studio City.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and
Yes.
for being part of history and for teaching children about, you know, history and what you went through and what to avoid in the future. Is, you know, what's happening now is just, it's history does repeat itself, unfortunately. And
Thank both of you.
All right.